I would like to talk to you about my favourite amplifier. This is a lovely amplifier. It's made by a company called Ming-Da in China, and it's imported into the UK by a good friend of mine called Manwaring-White. Now, what Mark doesn't know about tube amplifiers is probably not worth knowing. And I spent a day in his studio in Malvern, and we were trying out all different kinds of tube amplifiers until we found the one that really matched the Sibelius really well. And this is a Class A amplifier. It's commonly known as a single-ended triode SET or set amplifier. I'm just going to take the cover off. I think it looks great, don't you? I love the look of this thing. It's not everyone's taste, I know. I'm just going to put this carefully down here so you can see the tubes, because single-ended triode means that it's going to amplify the entire signal in one go. So it's basically standing here not doing anything at the moment, but it's sucking its full power. And these two tubes, the 300B and the 805, the 300B is driving the 805, are going to amplify that whole signal in one go, called Class A. And basically what Mark did was he took the amplifier as it came in from China, and then he upgraded some of the components. I mean, they're good amplifiers, but he just spent a bit more time upgrading some of the components and making some adjustments in the design to bring it to the level. And he will do this for all his customers if you wish it. Now, the modern version of this is called the Cavatina, I believe, and I think it's a little bit lower now, this plinth. It's a very heavy, solid aluminium plinth it stands on. It's beautifully made. It's really well constructed. The only thing with it, when we first got it back into the listening room, one of my colleagues and I were saying, well, isn't it a bit annoying because it used to hum, not through the loudspeakers, but you could hear an audible hum when there was no music playing. You could hear it, and there were two metal covers over the transformers, and they were mechanically humming. So basically we removed them, and I asked a friend of mine to make up a new steel box, it's a single box, but in the middle there's a steel plate between the two, separating the two transformers. And this is made out of solid 5mm steel. It's incredibly heavy, and then we basically just siliconed it, boom, straight down onto its base. And now, trust me, you don't hear a thing. So with that minor modification, we've got an amplifier that sounds amazing, matches the Sibelius really, really well, and actually hasn't cost that much. You know, it is expensive. It's about £6,000 a pair, but there's two of them. You can probably see the other monoblock underneath here somewhere. So it's not cheap. They do have cheaper amplifiers, but this is the one that I really identify with. But it's something that, how does it sound? It sounds so smooth, and it really gets the Sibelius drive cone under control. When you're listening to it, it doesn't really matter what kind of music, whether it's classical, jazz, folk, whatever. You just listen to the music. You don't, after 5 minutes, you're not thinking about the highs, the lows, the trebles, the basses. You're just listening to the musicians playing music. And that's exactly what the whole purpose of my career has been in developing the Sibelius loudspeakers, to listen to music and to have it sound like the musicians are here, right here with you in the room. And this does this really, really well. Of course, these tubes have heating elements in them. All tubes do. And because basically what happens is when the voltage comes in, inside the tube there's two plates which we call a cathode and an anode. And the cathode is basically negative charge. And in the vacuum tube, it generates a whole cluster of electrons. And the heating elements, which you can see in the glowing elements, and we'll take some little close-ups so that you can see them a little better, they heat up this cathode and they excite all the electrons around the cathode. And then, of course, when you apply the positive charge to the anode and you apply the incoming signal, then choom, bang, the electrons fly across from the cathode through a grid and hit the anode. And from that point where the charge is applied, it's amplified. And that amplified voltage goes into the big output transformer here. And it's then reduced down in voltage, and so that it has also sufficient current to drive the cone of the loudspeaker. So this combination, and because it's connected directly to the back of the cone of the loudspeaker, there's nothing in between. This combination between power amplifier and loudspeaker is a really important one. And this is an amplifier I really, really like to listen to. In the winter months, it's lovely, it glows, it looks lovely, and you just enjoy it with a glass of wine and you listen to the music. My wife and I, we love this. But in the summer, our listening room gets quite warm anyway, just under the attic. So we tend to switch it off in the summer and switch over either to Dennis Deacon's Class D amplifiers or to the Pure Audio amplifier. And I want to talk about the Pure Audio amplifier because I will talk about that in a later video, because regardless of cost or whatever, I've never heard any amplifier better matched to the Sibelius than this. But if you're looking for tube amplifiers and you like it, this is really, really good. But I also want to say that there are lots of tube amplifiers that are really good. Now, it's just that we've never heard a tube amplifier sound better than this one with a Sibelius loudspeaker. And believe me, we've heard lots. We've even matched them up to a €40,000 pair of monoblocks. I won't mention the name, but they were beautiful. I mean, they looked fabulous. I mean, the construction was amazing. They were really the Bugattis of tube amplifiers. You're probably guessing what they are. And they look wonderful in any room. But did they sound actually better than this? To me, not. But that isn't the purpose of that amplifier. So for me, I'm driven purely by the sound and the audio. And this amplifier matched with the Sibelius loudspeaker is a really, really good combination. So after all, that's what it's about. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope I've gone into enough details. If you've got any questions, feel free to write to us at Pearl Acoustics, info@pearlacoustics.com, and we will do our best to get back to you as soon as we can with the answer to your questions. Thank you for watching.